just heard Loretta Lynch. What's your take on this?
Well, it's a kind of classic Washington half hangout in the sense that she expresses regret for the appearance of having talked to Bill Clinton. And certainly she shouldn't have been talking to Bill Clinton. She does say the conversation went on for quite a long time. And that's what happens. That the next step is, what about the substance of it? She still maintains that they talked about their grandkids or golf or anything but the big issue, which was the Hillary Clinton email investigation. But I think a lot of people still have worries about the actual substance of the communication between the Attorney General and Bill Clinton at that time.
Right, but she blows it off as if, oh, well, you know, I regret it because of the appearance. It looked bad. Meanwhile, they were there a long time alone with no aides to take notes. So we have no idea if the entire conversation centered around Hillary Clinton and her email. She was about to testify in front of the FBI 2 days later.
Exactly, and that's why saying that, you know, she regrets it because of the appearance is simply not going to lay any of this to rest. I do think going forward, there's going to be a new president, there's going to be a new agenda, there's going to be new everything. This is going to fade into the past, but it's never going to be cleared up unless we get some idea of what they really talked about in what appears to be a pretty extensive conversation.
Well, this never really got cleared up because it was a 30-minute window in Phoenix, Arizona, in the dead of summer where it's 120 degrees, and then Bill Clinton's like, oh, hey, you're in town too? No way. Let me run across a hot tarmac, sit down with you, and let's just chat grandkids, when really the substance that people are inferring was the quid pro quo, that she would continue to be Attorney General. So Bill Clinton said, hey, remember when I gave you your first appointment? Remember when you got to become a district attorney? Remember when I gave that to you?
Well, that's
Hillary
the thing. No one believes any of this.
Yeah, no one believes any of it. So this just continues into the narrative. Why would she have this interview? Why would she sit down and talk about this again? Why wouldn't she just let a resting dog lie? Why do you think she gave this interview?
Well, it's the end of the administration. People do end of term interviews, and I think she didn't expect to get a very hard time with it, and she did talk about it, and that's what she ended up doing.
Yeah. Democrats are looking for a new DNC chair. Meanwhile, Byron, got to get your take on this. 5 candidates are vying for the position, with frontrunners including Minnesota Congressman Keith Ellison and Tom Perez, the current Labor Secretary. He's reportedly the White House favorite for the job. What would the next DNC chair need to do to reinvigorate the party, and what's your take on the two that we're talking about, Tom Perez versus Keith Ellison?
Well, the next Democratic chair needs to look in the mirror and see what went wrong in 2016, and not clear that that's going to happen. Keith Ellison, the congressman from Minnesota, got out early on this. He has the support of the Bernie Sanders wing, but now we do have Tom Perez, who seems to have the support of the president, who spoke very highly of him the other day, and seems to have a lot closer connections to the whole Democratic donor network. The issue here, I mean, both of them are progressives, both of them are somewhat zealous in their politics. The issue here is the 2016 autopsy, because we've had reports of Democratic donors wanting an investigation into what went wrong in the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic campaign in 2016. And they're not talking Russia. They're not talking James Comey. They're talking about, why did we ignore Wisconsin and Michigan until it was too late? What did we do that allowed this blue wall that we all believed in to fall apart? And it's that kind of self-critical self-examination that the next chairman is going to have to do.
Totally agree with you, Byron, and it's not just that self-critical examination. It's also saying, are they going to change the leadership at all? Because right now we've got Nancy Pelosi and others who have been in charge of the party for 20 years. I mean, where are the young Democrats? Where are the young women? Where are the people within this party that can really change them? And just saying it's the FBI director's fault, it's Russia's fault, it's everyone else's fault, without taking responsibility, as you said, I think is crucial. But I think almost more crucially, how do you take the Democrats, who have a very weak bench, and how do you get more young people into leadership and really change the party from the people who have been controlling it for 20 years?
You make a great point, and I remember doing a piece as the Bernie-Hillary battle was heating up in 2016 with a Democratic strategist who said, look, the Clintons just kind of sucked the oxygen out of the Democratic room for years and years and years. They kept younger people, younger Democratic politicians from rising to challenge them. And if you remember, the only person who challenged Hillary Clinton, let's put Martin O'Malley aside, the only person who challenged her was a 74-year-old member of the Senate who really didn't have any place to go in the Democratic Party. A number of people who were in their 50s, really in that sweet spot of running for president, chose not to do it because there was nothing in it for them to challenge the Clinton machine. So the Democratic Party has to begin a healing and growing post-Clinton process.
You're absolutely right, Byron.
Yeah,
That's exactly what happened. Yep.
Byron, Kirsten Haglund here. So I agree with Morgan about, hey, let's get young people involved. I, as conservative, want to see more young people involved in the GOP. But the young people that did turn out for Bernie Sanders, like you just said, they were very, very liberal. And I think that instead of when they do this post-mortem, right, and look at their election, they're going to say, hey, we tried to go the establishment route with Hillary Clinton, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, all these establishment types. Let's get them out of there. And I think they're going to be even more progressive. They love Elizabeth Warren. Obviously, Bernie Sanders is still there and a big hero of the party. Now you've got Keith Ellison, who's even more extreme. I don't think they're going to learn anything from this post-mortem. I think they're going to go even further to the left to try to capture that energy that they did see from young liberals in 2016.
Well, I'll just add to that and say that, look at the people that they're considering for the head of the DNC.
Yeah.
Keith Ellison. So they're not listening to voters still, Byron.
Absolutely. Look, Bernie Sanders got a lot of big crowds. I remember going, covering a Bernie event at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. There were 5,000 people there, almost all college-age people. It wasn't a college event, but they were almost all college-age. Bernie walks out on stage. They stand up, and they stay standing for the entire hour and 14 minutes that Bernie talks. There was a real palpable enthusiasm there, and the Democratic Party is going to have to recognize that. They do have this conflict here. They think all these voters we lost in Pennsylvania, these voters we lost in Michigan, are they compatible with the Bernie wing? The next chairman of the party is going to have to try to bring these factions together. And look, this is what party chairmen do. You think Reince Priebus had an easy job presiding over the Republican race in which Donald Trump was running away with it, but you had other candidates who were very, very different. Party chairman jobs are really tough.
Yeah, but you know what? Reince did a good job with it.
Reince
Priebus didn't do what Debbie Wasserman Schultz did. I mean, Debbie Wasserman Schultz came up with all stories, different stories about why Bernie was not the guy. Right? They lied and they made believe, oh, let's put out a narrative that he doesn't believe in any religion. I mean, anything to take this guy down.
Priebus and his staff realized how intense the emotions were in the race and really tried to stay out of it, just to be a facilitator, not to put a thumb on the scale. And you're exactly right. The opposite happened inside the DNC, which we learned from some of the hacked emails where the Democratic Party establishment really tried to put its thumb on the scales for Hillary Clinton.
It's true.
Byron, real quick, we have a long way to go, though. Don't they vote at the end of February, so we still have time to see how this shakes out? Okay.
Yes, and I think what's going to happen is, I think that after the Electoral College happens, and as some of the Russia talk perhaps recedes a little bit, some of the Comey talk recedes a little bit, Democrats are going to take a more sober look at the mistakes that they made, their candidate made, and the party made. And by the time the election happens, maybe in March, actually, I think they'll try to elect a new chairman who will fix what actually went wrong inside the party.
Yeah.